All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for your patience while we gave everyone a chance to log in. So today, as you can see in front of you, we're going to be discussing our webinar for the month of June for Pride Month. Happy Pride Month to everyone. We're very excited to go through LGBTQ plus family building with donor sperm today. So here we have, as for our speakers today, we have the lovely Christina Garcia, our cryobank manager. She's going to be leading this today. And then we'll be joined with Doreen Bond. She's going to join us for the Q&A portion, and she'll be able to answer any sort of client service related questions. And then myself, Morgan Barker, I'll be moderating those questions. Just wanted to share a few little housekeeping notes. Today's webinar is going to be recorded and emailed out to all attendees. So if you have to hop off early, or if you're not able to make it today, or you want to share this with a friend, we can go ahead and we can email this to you afterwards. One other note would be that if you do have any questions as we present the material today, feel free to put that in the question box or the chat box through the webinar sort of portal, and we will go through those as we have time at the end. And with that, take it away.
All right. Well, happy Pride, everyone. My name is Christina Garcia. I hope all of you are enjoying Pride Month as I am. So I'm very happy for all of you guys to be attending today's webinar, the LGBTQ plus family building with donor sperm. So as always, I like to begin with our webinar goals, and at the end, we will do the Q&A session. So we are going to talk about getting started and building queer families. We're going to be talking also about choosing a donor, products, and donor categories. A popular topic is vial types and procedure. We will also talk about additional services for family building and resources and Q&A with our client services manager, Doreen Bond. All right, so getting started. So as we get started, we're going to need three things. We're going to need to have eggs, sperm, and a uterus to make a baby. So for the eggs, we can either use ourselves for donor or even a partner. As well for sperm, we can use ourselves, donor, and partner. And then for a uterus, we can use ourselves, a gestational carrier, a surrogate, as well as a partner. So taking into play with the three things that we need when building a queer family, we will definitely have more options. So as of today, you know, technology has completely expanded in the world of fertility. So for us, it's a great thing because now we can expand our options. So as I mentioned, we talked about the donor eggs, the donor sperm. We also have the known or directed donor eggs and sperm, which I'll discuss at the end. We have trans individuals who can bank their eggs and sperm prior to transitioning. We have the surrogacy and gestational carriers. So the difference between these two is that a surrogate is a woman who has a genetic link to the child. And then the gestational carrier is a woman who carries and delivers a child for another couple or individual, so like the intended parents. They do not have a genetic link to the child, so they are not biologically connected. And then last but not least, adoption. Of course, this is a wonderful option for everyone. For today, we will talk about donor sperm options for family building. This is Fairfax Cryobank, so we do the bank's sperm banking, so we do want to tie this in with building queer families. So choosing a sperm donor. So we do get a lot of calls. CS gets calls, our staff gets calls. We do receive questions about how do I begin and like how do I start this process. So we simply just suggest that you create a list of characteristics that is important to you. For example, a very popular one, physical characteristics. We have other examples like ethnic background, personality, education, lifestyle, etc. Other items that may be also important to you, which I will elaborate on, are the donor categories, donor brand codes, and specimen types. So we actually have, as of today, on our website, over 360 donors that you can choose from. So this number can actually fluctuate daily because some donors might be taken off the catalog. There might be, no availability for certain vials, but we also have other donors that are being added as well. So to add to this, our marketing team and sites are diligently working on donor recruitment and trying to diversify our donor pool. So we are completely open to any new ideas or any suggestions you might have. All right, so a popular topic. Donor categories. We have non-ID, ID, and non-ID to ID donors. Non-ID donors simply means that donors who just did not agree to release identifying information to the donor conceived person, the DCP, also known as your adult child. Basically, this donor might have felt maybe at the time of his contract that he wanted to remain private and was not ready to release any information. On the other hand, we have the ID donor program, which they do agree to release identifying information to the DCP when they turn 18 years old. So as of March 2020, Fairfax decided to accept only ID donors. So we made this personal decision because we wanted to evolve in the industry along with society. So, and also we wanted to give DCPs a chance to know who their donor is. A DCP must be registered, which I'll explain a little bit down. I have a little slide, we can go over that. But we also have non-ID non-ID to ID donors. So California passed a legislation to allow non-ID donors to change to ID. We began this program in 2020, but it is not mandatory. All of our donors are asked annually if they would like to become an ID donor. So we will not change their status category, but we will update in the summary profile at the very bottom. When you go into the website and do a donor search, you'll see that you can download a summary profile, and this is where you can look at to see if they've changed. If you don't see anything, you can also call CS for any updates. So when the DCP requests ID information at 18 plus years old, the process will be the same as if they were originally an ID donor. So again, I'll explain that towards the end. All right. Donor brand codes. So overall, why choose us? I believe that choosing a sperm bank is just as important as choosing a donor. You may want to consider certain factors like, are we FDA regulated or licensed? Do they have a good reputation? How's their sperm quality? Do they have extensive infectious disease and genetic testing? How detailed is their screening process? Are the prices competitive or the products good, etc.? We have 3 brands: Fairfax, PRS, and CLI. Our main sperm bank is Fairfax Cryobank, and they are located in Virginia. And this is our corporate office. Fairfax actually acquired Pacific Reproductive Services in 2016. We are located in the Pasadena branch in California. We also have Cryogenic Laboratories, which was acquired by Fairfax as well in 2002 and is located in Minnesota. So all of these sperm banks are under the Fairfax umbrella, as we are just like one big happy family. And you can actually order any of these brands on our website, on the Fairfax website, or with the client services department, and they will help you. And if you have any questions, again, they can go over the donor search with you. All right, so the fun stuff here. So These are additional items that the donors and the staff complete before a donor can be accepted onto our website. So these are fun tools to help narrow down your search. So let's start with the free products. Childhood photo, that just simply means the ages are usually around like their toddler years to as a young child. Summary profile is a brief overview of the medical history. So this is where the non-ID to ID info would be listed on. It also includes family history, 3 to 4 generations. So I say 4 generations because this means that the donor has children of his own. So we actually have about 20, I think we're almost like 25% around there, that the donors have their own children. So next we have staff impressions. Simply means impressions by the staff of the donor's physical appearance and personality. Donor essays. We provide questions to the donor in written form and they will write down their answers. Audio clips from donors and staff. So this is a brief clip, like it's about 1 or 2 minutes from what the full audio interview is. So it's really interesting. You can at least take a sneak peek and listen to, what they have to say. The medical profile, this includes personal behaviors, sexual history, genetic history, ancestry, also the donor and family history. The genetic testing summary. So this will actually show you what carrier tests the donors have. So obviously the older donors won't have as many tests as the new donors, simply because genetic testing, has evolved so much over the years. For example, when we started January 2018, we did new testing for new donors that was over 200 recessive diseases. January 2022, we're at 502, and 2023 at 514 recessive diseases. Currently today, we are at 545 recessive diseases. So if you're interested on learning about the whole genetic world, we have a fantastic webinar done by our genetic counselor, Suzanne Seitz. She goes over all the details, and you can actually find it on our blog, or you can even look on YouTube and you can find it there as well. And so now we have Face Match. It's a fun, free tool to use. You can upload a photo. It can be a friend, a partner, anybody you want. And it will basically give you a high, medium, or low facial comparison to a donor. So like, for example, like a facial structure. Sometimes, don't be alarmed if you don't get a high result because, not everybody looks alike, but it is a fun free tool to use, and, it gives you another option to see if you want to narrow down your search. All right, so now for our products for purchase. We have the personal profile. So this is basically a extensive version of, it's about, I want to say maybe like 20 pages of everything related to the donor. We have the silhouette, which is a blacked out side profile, adult photos, and lifetime series photos. So we started doing this, I believe, about 4 years ago. And as of today, we are over about 60% of the donors who have adult photos. Not everybody has lifetime series photos, so that's not mandatory, but we do have a lot of selection donors who have opted into doing the lifetime series photos. Full audio interview. We have a great tool, one of my favorites. It's about 15 to 20 minutes full length version of the free clip. So this can be, an option for you if you want to hear this donor's voice, their emotion, their tone, and see what kind of answers they even respond with. I like this. It's a really good way to kind of feel like you're having a conversation with them. The personality type, the donors will do a personality test, for example, to see if, maybe they're extroverts, introverts, etc. All right, so with all of our products we also have different access plans. So as I mentioned previously, in the first column, these are the free items. So if you would like to upgrade to basic access, you will also include the personal profile and silhouette. The full access will include all of the purchased items. So as you can see, it'll add on full audio, lifetime photos, adult photos, and the personality types. In the fourth column, you'll see the full access with Club Fairfax. Don't be alarmed. I know it looks pricey. It's $499, but there are extreme and huge savers that are added onto this. So it looks like you can get 2 free shipping costs. Right there alone is a good, huge saver. You can buy 5 vials and receive the 6 free anytime over within like the next 12 months. You can preview news donors before others can in the next 12 months as well. So it's a really good package, and you can look up any donors. Usually, I believe, Dorian can quote me at the very end, usually like 90 days access free. But if you ever have any questions, you can always contact CS, as well as Doreen will answer our questions at the end. And we also have a secret code at the end, so you might want to stay tuned for that. All right, so we're getting into the popular topics because people want to know what they want to buy. And we always get a lot of questions of like, how many vials should I purchase for one procedure, etc. So this is an overview of what we sell at Fairfax. I'm just going to go ahead and read the queue. And so we have an IUI, intrauterine insemination, ICI, intracervical insemination, ART, assisted reproductive technology, and ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So an IUI premium vial. These are pre-washed vials with at least 10 million motile sperm, and the seminal fluid was removed prior to the freezing process. So if you were to buy 1 vial, this will equal to 1 procedure. ICI premium vials are not washed, but still have at least 10 million motile sperm. The seminal fluid was not removed prior to the freezing process. So your clinic must have the capability of washing the specimen. For this instance, 1 vial will equal to 1 procedure. The ART vials are either IUI or ICI and have at least 6 million motile sperm. So if you're doing IVF, you can use 1 vial for this procedure, or you can combine 2 vials for an in-office IUI or home insemination. For the ICSI vials, they're either IUI or ICI. These ones have at least 3 million motile sperm. So for this procedure, I'll explain it a little bit, but you don't need as much sperm for this type of procedure. Okay, so the different procedures that are most common and relating to the vial types, we have home insemination or ICI procedure, intrauterine insemination IUI, assisted reproductive technology ART procedure, which is IVF, in vitro fertilization, and ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. So we highly, strongly recommend discussing with a fertility or infertility specialist or even a medical professional, so they can help you and what options work best for you. And from here, you'll be able to be guided on what type of vial that you might need or whatever they prefer. So again, we highly recommend that you talk to a medical professional. So next, let's talk about a little bit about the different types of procedures. So home insemination or ICI procedure. Intracervical insemination. So this is the process where the sperm sample is drawn into a needleless syringe, then inserted into the vagina, and then the sperm is released onto the cervix. So frozen sperm can live about 12 to 24 hours. So this is why you will use an ovulation predictor kit and to help you time your ovulation precisely. One ICI premium vial is preferred for this procedure. You can also use two ICI ART vials as well, which you will combine for one procedure. One IUI premium or two IUI ART vials are okay to use if there are no ICI vials available. And Fairfax can ship to your home anywhere in the US. Clients doing a home insemination do not need a physician sign-off on a home consent, unfortunately for New York. But we do have information on our website to continue the process if you do live in New York. So when you are ready to place your order, we will provide the needleless syringe if you're doing a home insemination and the thawing instructions. They will be both inside the package, and we also have a wonderful webinar that you can look up on YouTube, and it'll explain to you what to do from the beginning to the end. And I highly recommend. It's a very popular webinar that everyone is very thankful to have because it explains everything in detail. All right, so the next procedure, this is a little bit more invasive than the home insemination. So the intrauterine insemination, IUI. This process will bypass the vaginal canal and the cervix to enter directly into the uterus. So your medical professional will use a medical catheter for this procedure. One IUI premium is the preferred vial to use for one procedure. Two IUI ARTs can be combined for one procedure. One ICI premium or two ICI ARTs are okay to use as long as your clinic has the capability of washing sperm. So this is something you'll want to discuss with your medical professional and see if they do have the capability of washing sperm. For example, some OBGYNs or midwives don't have the capability of washing sperm, so they will require IUI vials. This is because the vagina serves as a natural wash. So if you do a home insemination with an ICI vial, it's okay. For IUI procedures, the sperm goes directly into the uterus. So this is why it needs to be washed first. But most IVF clinics or a lot of insemination clinics, they do have the capable of washing sperm. So again, we just tell you to ask your medical professional. Assisted reproductive technology procedures. So there are two types of ART, IVF and ICSI. So these procedures are a lot more invasive and possibly costly compared to the regular in-office insemination and especially the home inseminations. This is when the eggs are fertilized with sperm outside of the body. So for in vitro fertilization, IVF, you will have an egg retrieval plus fertilization of eggs, and it will equal into a embryo transfer. ART vials are the preferred types, but you can use any type of vial that's available from this donor. Intracytoplasmic sperm injection, ICSI, this is where your clinic will inject the sperm directly into the egg for fertilization. So using ICSI vials are the preferred vials because, as I mentioned before, you don't need as much sperm to be injected directly into this eggs. So again, you can also use any types of vials depending on what the donor has. So again, as I mentioned before, discuss this with your fertility or infertility specialist or even with your medical professional for some guidance. All right. So we are getting into the family limits and registrations. So reporting your births is just very, 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 very important. We heavily rely on you on reporting your births. So Fairfax stops distribution when there are 25 families reported in the US. We also distribute globally, and we also follow all the guidelines of any countries out there that, for example, UK will only accept up to 10 families. So we do highly follow the international regulations. ID registrations, as I mentioned before, for ID donors. This is where the mother will have to complete a form and register her child for the ID donor program. So in the future, when your adult child turns 18, they can contact us directly. They will be considered as a donor conceived person. So this DCP must be 18 plus years old in order to contact us. They will complete a form, which is an agreement, and provide an ID, which is usually a government issued ID, birth certificate, or passport. And then once we confirmed the birth and all the information of the registration, we will contact the donor for their preferred method of contact. So if the donor responds, we will only provide this information to the DCP, not any clients. We will include the name, date of birth, preferred method of contact. If the donor does not respond, we will provide his name, date of birth, and all the last contact information. So we usually give the donors about a few weeks to respond as a courtesy. If you ever have any questions, you can contact me at dcpinfo@fairfaxcryobank.com. All right, so we're going into our additional services for family building. As I mentioned that Fairfax Cryobank, we do other sperm banking resources and services. So we have two types of sperm banking. We have client depositor program. So this is when the client depositor will do personal banking for future use with a sexually intimate partner. So the CD will bank his sperm, and the sexual intimate partner will carry and deliver the child as a couple. Even our trans individuals can bank their sperm prior to transitioning for this program as well. The directed donor, the DD, or the known donor program. So we have two intended parents. We have the recipient and the DD intended parent. Recipient intended parent, this is when a DD will bank sperm for a friend or someone other than an SIP. So for example, my partner and I know someone who will bank for us. So we would be considered the recipient intended parent. And our donor will waive all of his parental rights to us. The intended parent is the donor who is self-banking for use with the gestational carrier. So this person will not have a genetic link. Sorry, the gestational carrier will not have a genetic link tied in with the intended parent. So this also includes trans individuals banking for themselves with a future partner who cannot deliver the child. So to begin this process, our CS team will direct you to our DD coordinator and they can help you. If you are interested in the DD program, depending on what avenue you want to take, it's always good to talk to someone in family law. It just depends on the certain circumstances that you want to proceed with. We do also have long-term storage of embryo, oocyte, and sperm transfers. So we have 7 locations with state-of-the-art alarm systems and autofills, etc. Our monitoring and quality control is very detailed and handled with care with the best lab technicians that we have in the business. We also have direct contact with you and your clinic, so we make the transfer process as easy as possible. And then we also have easy billing systems for storing specimens. So you can actually store all different types of specimens into one storage account. So, and again, we have 7 different locations where you can store, so you can contact CS and they will give you the correct location on where you want to store at. So for our resources, our Fairfax blog, this is where a lot of our information is stored for past and informational blogs. We have the webinars, we have the testimonials, we have the Fairfax newsletter. So if you subscribe to the Fairfax newsletter, you'll be able to get promotions, find out what giveaways there are, find out all the new donors beforehand, tips, and whatever's new on there. So if you are interested, it's a really good deal. We have a lot of clients that do participate in it, and they will be able to find some fun things on there. Fairfax Family Forums. So this is, we started this probably a little few years ago, and anybody who, the clients or the DCPs can join in the forums. So first, you will need to register. It is a completely separate registry, so you will need to log in and create a password. Then you will find your donor forum that you want to join. However, you must have a recorded pregnancy or birth in order to be approved into the specific forum. So if you don't have a birth or pregnancy, you will not be accepted into that forum. It is only for other families who have a recorded birth or pregnancy that can connect with others. If you don't see your forum or the donor forum, we can also start a new one for you. So this will also include all brand types and non-ID and ID donors. If you have ever any questions, you can also email me at forum@fairfaxcryobank.com. All right, so if you're ready to purchase, I highly recommend completing the terms of use online. We do have it electronically, so you can complete it there. It is mandatory if you want to purchase any sperm, so I highly recommend getting that ahead of time, just in case you are planning for the future. Sometimes if you do it last minute, there might be a possibility that maybe you might miss a cycle. So I do highly recommend getting that completed as soon as you can. You can contact our client services. We have an amazing team, including with Doreen and the staff. They are there to help you with any questions. They can also help you with vial availability, help you with placing an order for shipment or pickup. Just make sure you have like your donor and donor numbers. We do recommend having more than one donor number in case the vial availability is not there for your first one. So, and then have also vial types, number of vials, your clinic information. You can also ask about home inseminations, shipment or pickups for that, and then also storage at our 7 locations. So as I mentioned in previous slides, we have 7 locations. I am located in Pasadena, California. Our corporate office is in Fairfax, Virginia. We have Houston and Austin, Texas. We have Roseville, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Miami, Florida. So all of those locations, as I mentioned, in like additional services, this is where we can help you from if you want to bank sperm or even just store your program donors and we can also store those at the location as well. So if you are interested, here's the information for client services, the 1-800-338-8407, and the email is info@fairfaxcryobank.com. For anyone who is international, any inquiries can go to our global@fairfaxcryobank.com. So, as I mentioned previously, we have an amazing code, LGBTQ FAMS 2024. You will get free, full, unlimited access for 90 days. I highly, 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 highly take advantage of this. I recommend this is a great offer. We don't usually give offers like this, so take advantage of it. You have until July 18th. So again, take advantage of it. I am very thankful for all of you guys attending today's webinar. I am not a medical professional, but if you do have any questions that pertains to medical questions, I can get answers for you as well. So again, happy Pride Month. I am so happy to be here. I'm going to bring on Doreen Bond. She's going to help us with any Q&A. A lot of people always have questions of shipping, etc. So I'm very excited. Thank you again, and take it away.
Thank you, Christina. Just a reminder to go ahead and put your questions in the question box. We've had a couple kind of trickle through, but we just want to talk about some of those questions as we have time today. So let's go through. We have a couple of questions regarding the donor medical update system. How do we update the donor profiles with any sort of changes to their donors' health changes over the years?
Oh, it's a really good question. So you can, I think, Doreen, I think they can contact you guys, right? And then,
Yeah, so they can contact, well, first of all, we take those pretty seriously,
yeah.
but they can contact client services. We give all the information to our medical team who's going to investigate. Oh my goodness, I forgot the rest of the question. I'm so sorry.
Just talking about how we update it. Where do we put it? And how,
We put it in the
where can
summary
they find it?
profile on the donor's profile once we have an update. Thank you, Morgan, for reminding me. So we put it there. So it's always going to be on the profile. Once we have like any medical update at all, we do investigate it to see if that's anything on the donor's paternal side or the maternal side, so that we can make the best medical decision about whether or not that donor can continue to be sold and what kind of updates we need to give.
To add on to that, if you are in a donor forum, they also will put that information on there as well.
Thank you both. Okay, the next question says, I have purchased the sperm. Do I just need to give a call to request shipping?
Yes. You would contact our client services team to request shipping out of your storage account. If you've already purchased it, you're also able to purchase and ship immediately, as long as you know the date you need it to arrive.
Okay. And then what about if I purchase the vials now, but don't want to use them until the end of the year, will the sperm survive that long once shipped?
So once it's shipped, it needs to remain in the tank for 7 days. The tanks last for 7 days from the day of shipment, or we have 2-week tanks you can upgrade to. If you are working with a clinic that can keep it frozen, then you are able to have them store it as well. But we can store it here at Fairfax until you're ready to have it shipped out closer to your insemination date.
We do provide storage services here, so just talk to your customer service rep about that. I filled out the acknowledgement of the carrier status and I had my genetic counseling today. Where do I find the terms of use?
So that is on our website underneath the resources tab. You're going to look for forms and guides or forms and brochures. It is a long document. There's a PDF version as well as a DocuSign version. I always recommend that you read the PDF version to make sure that you are understanding everything you sign. It's a legal agreement. but it goes through what we provide as the agree to as the cryobank and what you agree to as the client of the cryobank.
All right. Next one would be about Canada clients. Are there any sort of notable financial or legal implications that you're aware of for providing services to a client in Canada?
That's a very interesting question. I know that we work with our distributors in Canada. So they have our vials and it's part of their inventory. But they sell them directly to our Canadian clients. And they have a separate inventory available than what is available in the US. So all the vials and donors on the Canadian distributors program are Canadian compliant and able to be shipped and sold in Canada.
Great. Let's see, this next one says, can you speak to the importance of selecting a donor with confirmed pregnancies versus one without confirmed pregnancies?
Well, that depends on a lot of factors. I know some physicians and medical professionals recommend that you look for donors that have confirmed pregnancies or births. Um, that's not always what I tell clients though, because not all donors are going to have that, especially when they're new. A lot of times more often than not, our new donors are not going to have any pregnancy or birth reported for the first 12 months or so, as not all clients report pregnancies and births. They might just report the birth. They might wait until their child is born. That's really around that 9, 10, 12 over a year point is really when those reports tend to trickle in.
You mentioned that donors can change their mind from non-ID to ID donors. Can they change their mind to go from ID donor to non-ID?
Unfortunately, no. So once they have signed a contract to be an ID donor, they will be remained as an ID donor.
Okay. How much sperm do I need for siblings?
Ooh, great question. We recommend 4 to 5 vials for a pregnancy, for one pregnancy, because generally it depends also on the process you're working with your clinic, and what kind of procedures is your plan for that. But we recommend planning ahead for that because our donor vials do tend to sell out very quickly. So it would be hard. I can't guarantee if you call me back in 3 months or call me back in a year that donor is still going to be available. Of course, that's a personal decision. It's going to depend on what you're able to purchase. But we do recommend 4 to 5 vials per pregnancy.
Great. And kind of going off of that, this one's sort of related. When searching for donors, how do we know who is new and who is not?
That is a great question too. We do have a filter on our donor search that shows the newest donors first, that can show the ones that have been added more recently to our website. But the inventory of our donors changes every day, multiple times during the day. So checking the website on a regular basis is extremely important, and continuing to search for the things you're looking for in your donor to make sure that you are constantly seeing if there's any updates on that, or if you have donors that you saved to your favorites or have signed up for notifications to them. Just continuing to check the website is the best option.
We also have a new donors page on the website in addition to the donor search. And so that's going to be under about Fairfax Cryobank under the update section. That's updated regularly. And I also recommend a little marketing plug here to follow us on social media on our Instagram or Facebook or wherever. We post regularly new donors as soon as they're released. So that's a great place to find us.
I was going to say that too, that social
Yeah.
media, definitely.
Yep. All right. Is it mandated to have our 18-plus-year-old child to contact the ID donor? Thank you.
No.
That is not mandated, no. That is up to you registering your child in the ID program, as well as your child, once they're 18, making that decision for themselves of what they need. And they could very well contact the donor and have a great relationship with them, or they could contact the donor and it's um, not everything they need, or it may take a while for a response.
Mhm.
That's something that's pretty unique. I would assume it's pretty unique to each donor conceived person, what they need from that, and family,
Agreed.
what your family needs as well.
Agreed.
Okay. And then how far out do I need to ship my vials
Well, we
or
ship
order
very,
them,
it depends. We ship very quickly. So we have overnight shipping or 2 business day shipping. Those arrive Monday through Friday and are only shipped Monday through Friday. I generally recommend the overnight. Sometimes clinics have restrictions on when they can receive the vials, so it's always good to check with your clinic about that. Um, but if you see that your donor is available and you have an insemination scheduled in 6 months or later this year, uh, I recommend jumping on that donor and making sure that you buy that donor because, as I said, the inventory changes and can sell out very quickly. I've seen donors have like 10, 15 vials available, and people call and buy one at a time, or I've seen them buy 15 vials in one fell swoop. It's really, really hard to anticipate that inventory, how quickly it changes.
Great. And what is the difference in cost for the different kinds of vials?
So that depends on the procedure that you're going to be having with the vials, what preparation type you really need. Um, on the previous slide, or a few slides back, we were talking about the different preparation types for the procedures. Like the ICSI vials, they have a smaller volume, so those are generally recommended for IVF procedures. Um, the ART vials have 6 million total motile cells, and the premium have 10 million total motile cells. It's just really dependent on what procedure you need, what vials you need, as well as if you have a donor that's your favorite donor, that's your donor, and they only have IUI premium vials available, if and that's the donor you want, sometimes you have to just check with your clinic to see if that's okay for your procedure, if you want to ensure that that's donor.
And does Fairfax have a vial buyback program?
Yes. Yes, we do. So as long as the vials have never left our facility, it's going to be 50% of the original purchase price. If your donor is a genetic carrier, meaning that they have a genetic trait that they're found a carrier for through the genetic testing we provide, and you're trying to figure out if that's a good match for you, you can purchase the vial as well. Within the first 45 days of purchasing a carrier vial, you can sell that back for 100% back. We do also offer swaps. Um, so if you have a vial here at Fairfax and it's your number 2 donor and your number 1 donor comes back available, we can exchange your previous vial for this new vial as long as it's never left our facility. Um, Either way, you'd contact client services for us to help you figure out what your next step needs to be.
And can you explain the donor waitlist system too, Doreen?
Sure. So we have donor notifications. That is where you can sign up on the donor's profile. There are limited spots available for the donor notifications, but then Fairfax Cryobank would be able to notify you once the inventory has been updated, once new vials come back, or if someone did sell a vial back to us, and we're able to sell that again, we have a new inventory from that, then we can send out a notification email saying, hey, this donor has vials available. Call us to order. All those vials, everything is first come, first serve. So once you get that email, you're going to want to call us as soon as possible to purchase if that's the donor you've been waiting for.
And we have another question now, moving to genetic testing a bit. Are all donors genetically tested? I did my genetic testing and need to make sure my donor doesn't have what I have.
Yes, all of our donors receive genetic testing. That's available for free on all of their profiles. If you are tested for a trait that's not included on that genetic testing, I would recommend you reach out to client services as well. to make sure. We do have a genetic team that's able to talk you through that. Our genetic counselor, Suzanne, is very knowledgeable. And as well as they are able to assist you if you are interested in finding additional testing for your donor to ensure you're not both the carrier of the same thing.
Great. I think we have time for one final question here. Do you need to be able to register the kids in order for them to be able to contact their donor?
Yes. We
Yeah.
would need them registered in the ID program for them to contact their donor.
Great. Thank you. So that's it for today's webinar. So please contact client services using the contact information Christina provided if you have any additional questions. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You guys have a great one.